Hi.
Hey.
Okay.
Was anyone being the discussion leader this week?
All right.
Anybody can do it. I could do it if you guys want, or if anybody else wants to do it, I can go next week.
Okay.
There's one more group thing, right?
Yeah, just one more.
Yeah, it's next week.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, are we recording?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, well, basically what I started off to say was I watched it, thought it was kind of goofy, but there was a fundamental disagreement, and I think that it really was like not taking orders from someone you should be taking orders from. I think it's I can't think of what the word is, but there wasn't like direct communication from the boss to the person whose duty it was to do the deal or like lower the price or whatever the product was that they were selling or distributing.
Mhm.
I
Go ahead.
thought the corporate perspective was very interesting because that's like exactly how I would act in that situation or would want others to act in that situation. And I just want people to say what's going on and like explain it to me, and I wouldn't want to have to guess around and figure out why someone's not being straightforward with me.
Yeah.
I do kind of understand where I think his name was Arvin.
Arvin, okay.
I do kind of understand where he's coming from because he didn't want to disrespect or make it seem like his boss had done something wrong, even though he had, because he didn't want to make him look bad in front of like the person who's like above him. And I kind of like experience the same thing. Like, even though sometimes my bosses aren't the best at their job, if somebody from higher up from corporate comes in and like asks me about it, I'm not going to be like, oh, they're not as good at their job as they should be, just because like I'm like used to them being above me, that kind of thing.
I actually agree with like how Hendrix handled it. He went straight after like who's supposed to be the overseer of their company. But I don't agree with Arvin because in a way he was the higher up, so he could have got fired because he was the overseer. I think he should just been straight out honest, like, hey, I was told to do this. By higher up. He didn't have to give her name right away. He could just say, I got to talk to this by higher up. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. I guess the second question talks about which of the two perspectives you most identify with. What do we think?
So I would say I'm with the I think it's egalitarianism perspective.
Yeah,
like I had mentioned, like I would want to be able to speak my mind and like be honest about what's going on within the office. Like I work for a really large like corporate company right now, so I kind of understand that like when something comes from my boss's boss, it makes sense and we understand what she wants, but then when it goes to all of the other team managers, it seems to get changed because the team managers make it whatever they want. So it's kind of nice being able to say like, what the hell, like we need to be all on the same page, and like this person's saying something different.
That's very, being direct is important. I agree with that too. I'm just gonna put in my 2 cents really fast. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm just gonna agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
I think that I like would like to be at an egalitarianism perspective, but just like the way that I was like kind of raised like respect your elders, respect the people who are above you in the hierarchy. So like I was told to respect like the bishop or my teachers or my parents, and like not to talk back to them even if I disagreed. But I think that like now that I'm getting older, like the people who I'm above, I want them to be able to disagree with me if they do, and I want to have like open dialogue between us. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable because like I have a higher status than they do. and like I don't want to feel uncomfortable with people that have a higher status than me, and I want to be able to have open dialogues with them as well. So I think that I'm kind of like trying to like make my perspective more egalitarianism than it is right now.
I'm the same. I would have to agree with you and Caitlin and everybody. I'm definitely like that. I'm just straight, honest, and straightforward with it. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't call out names and try to throw them direct under the bus. I would just say that I was instructed to do this. So, especially if I didn't do it. If I decided myself to do it, then I would have been like, hey, I did it myself. So,
yeah.
It looks like this is gonna be the last question for me because I'm getting text from my annoyed father that I'm not on my way yet. But how would you advise Arvin in this situation? Meaning, like, what advice would you give him, and what you think he should do / should have done?
Do you want to go first with this one because you have to leave soon?
Yeah, I think again, communication is a big part of success within a business. That's why I think this degree is like it works wonders with whatever you want to dive into, because when you don't have communication, you get into a situation like that, and then you start relying on your coworkers to kind of fill in the blanks to your boss and what he's trying to demand. So if it was me personally, I would kind of just have everyone pause and take a few steps back and just say, listen, this was the goal. This is what wasn't achieved, and I think we need to be all on the same page in the future and not let something like this happen again when it's kind of not like the company's policy to do things because just to close a deal. Like some companies are like that, but that's, I guess, a certain scenario. I would probably just like pull everyone aside and just kind of lay it all out and say, this is what we cannot be doing for the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Were you going to say something, Caitlin?
No. Cooper, if you want to hop off.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys. Good talking to you.
So I think that the main thing that Arvind like would need to learn in this situation is kind of like he's kind of like basing what he's saying and what he's doing on like the way that he was like his culture like brought him up to be like to like have this like sort of status perspective when it comes to communication. And I think because he's working for a company that exists in multiple countries and in multiple cultures with like multiple deals going on all over the place, that he should just like be more versed in like communicating with people from other cultures. So like I think that like maybe the company should like have the hypothetical company should have like hypothetical like trainings for communicating with people from other cultures and like how that's basically
that's good.
I agree with that. Like how they should have like I don't know, like maybe they should explain when you're hired, like this is how we work and this is how I expect to be answered, like when you're speaking to corporate. I think Arvin definitely probably could have done a little bit better in the situation. When he was asked that question, he kind of didn't really give any answer. And I think if he would have just said like, yes, I did take it upon myself to go ahead and do that discounted 10% sales price. And I forget his boss's name, like Marish or something like that, could explain a little bit more about the pricing that we agreed to or something like that. And then it kind of like opens the floor for his boss to kind of take over.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to say wasn't necessarily like, this is how the company communicates, but like, here's a better understanding of like how people from other countries that the company exists in communicate, so that he has more of an understanding, not necessarily so that his communication is like shaped in one way, but just so that he like has a bigger understanding of it instead of like just communicating in one certain way all the time.
That's one thing I like right away noticed, Ethan, was that like because it was a video conference first of all, and it was like two different cultures. One, you could tell they're in two different parts of the world. So with the CEO, the corporate guy, he was more direct. Like, I need to know this. Where Arvin, maybe in his culture, like you said, it's not right to throw somebody under the bus, so say. But I kind of feel for him because his manager was sitting right next to him, and then not say anything about like I told him to do that until the very end. So I feel like, yeah, in a way, he probably, the reason why, like he said, his boss is right there, and maybe he thought that his manager would speak up and like, yeah, I told him to do that, you know. But I think it's at least a lesson learned for Arvin, and he should start just speaking the truth from the jump, so he won't lose his job.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So the next question says, how would you advise Hendrik, or how would you advise Hendrik in this situation? What do you think she should do or should have done? I don't recall there being a female in this situation. Can you guys brush me up on that?
I think Hendrik was the boss, and that is just
a typo.
A mistake. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a typo. Well, I think that as the person who's like in charge, I assume he's like the person who's the boss of everyone else. So like not necessarily CEO, but like the person who's in charge of like making sure people at other offices are doing what they're supposed to. And like I would assume that he would know that Arvind is under somebody and like has people above him at his office that tell him what to do or tell him what's okay to do. So I think that he should have been aware that Marish, I think, was the one who was above Arvind, and he was the one who would have okayed the 10% off. So I think that he shouldn't have like necessarily only grilled Arvind in that situation, but also maybe like asked Marish as well, like, oh, like, did you give an okay on this? So that it wasn't like so much like an interrogation of like one person at the office.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. It could have been a little bit more open-ended as like a conversation between the three of them instead of just straight towards Arvind.
I agree with that as well. I totally wrote that down. He should have talked to not just Arvind, but the other guy right in front of him as well, and been like, "Hey, where were you at when he did it?" So that it would have came out right then and
there.
Yeah.
Do you think that sorry, I don't remember what I was gonna say. I'm trying to say like, do you think that like Marie should have jumped into? I think we kind of already went over that actually, but like, do you think that like he should have jumped in and then said something about that?
Definitely, because I mean, it's my dad's dealing with this in his own experience, and I guess it's the next question asking about an experience in your life. But if your boss is on your team, he's supposed to back you up as well, going up to the next boss. Like if you're presenting something or something's happening on your end, your boss is supposed to have your back. So I definitely think Marie should have stepped in and like had his back and said, "Oh, it wasn't him. I approved this."
Yes, I totally agree. I think he should even got grilled at the end more for like making him like think that it was all Auburn's fault. Like he should have got grilled more about it. Like, hey, like why didn't you're the boss? Like you should have told me from the jump, like you initiated. But at the same time, Hendrik should have known, like you said, Ethan, like he should have known, like, hey, somebody else is a higher up that told him or had to agree to him for doing that. Like, do it.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys have any other kind of like personal experience in this sort of scenario?
So the first time that I had a job when I was in high school, I like worked for like a DJ company kind of thing. And I was like the newest person that was hired when I got hired. Like it wasn't like a group of people, it was like just me. And the first like event that I went to, I wasn't like told like what I was supposed to be doing. So I kind of just like was like doing what other people were doing to like kind of keep up with them. And nobody, like the boss didn't tell me what to do, like the people under him, but like over me didn't tell me what to do. I was just kind of like going with the flow of what was happening. And then I kind of like, not during, but like afterwards, I kind of got reprimanded, not by the main boss who hired me, but like by another one of the bosses who was like telling me like, oh, like you should have been doing this, but you weren't. And I didn't want to be like, well, nobody told me what to do. So I kind of just like took it because I'd never like been in a situation like that. So I couldn't like defend myself by saying that no one told me what to do. I was just like doing my best to do what I thought I was supposed to do. And like, I don't think that I necessarily should have been like, nobody told me what to do, like it's your fault, but I should have like kind of like tried to like disagree, but not in an argumentative type of way. Like try to be like, oh, like I wasn't aware because I wasn't informed that was what I was supposed to do. But instead I just like kind of sat there silently and like let him like be upset with me. And like that kind of like shaped the way that I felt about like the company and like the people I worked with for like the rest of the time that I worked there. Cause like I didn't have a good experience the first time.
That's a crappy situation. That sucks that your boss, like that boss, didn't even I mean, I get like they could be mad at you for that situation, but like also they don't know like what you were trying to do. So like, how are they supposed to know that you didn't like know or were supposed to know?
Yeah, I mean,
They just assumed.
I think that like he could have handled it better, but like I definitely could have too, because I just like had never experienced anything like that before, so I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't know like if it was appropriate to even like say like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had it with my brother. So I got my brother hired at the same job that I'm at the spa. And he was like a closer. And there's certain tasks you have to do. And then the GM kept coming up to me like, hey, this wasn't done. This wasn't done. And instead of a couple times I didn't throw him under the bus, I was just like, oh, and then I would do it. But then and it was like he was being super lazy. Because she wasn't coming straight to him. She was always coming to me because, I don't know. I think she probably thought it was me, or she kept coming to me. So finally, it took him leaving the fireplace on overnight. One night at the spa, and she came up to me and was like, "Hey, you guys closed. Why did you leave this fireplace on?" And I just finally was like, "You know what? You need to talk to my brother Cameron. He's in charge of that area. We gave him that area to close down." And he's been in charge of this area and that area and that area. So I just started letting her know, and I was like, it's about time you go to him and maybe scare him so he could get on the ball and like do it. But like you said, even for a while, like I was getting upset with her because I'm like, dude, like, shouldn't you investigate it yourself instead of just keep coming up to me and like telling me like, hey, this was not done last night and this was not done last night. Like I'm not the only person that closed. Like that's how it was. But then I was just like, you know, I'm fed up. I'm gonna just tell her. And because I didn't want to it was my brother too, but I didn't want to throw another employee under the bus. But then once I did it, the next time she came, she's like, hey, did you do this area last night? And I'd be like, yes. Or I'd be like, no. And then, yeah, it worked out.
That's cool. Did he get his act together?
Yeah, he got his act together, but the spa is closing now. So it closes the 27th. So I'm like, wow. Now we're both out of a job.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We got together like the last month, and then she came and was like, "Hey, we're actually closing now." I was like, I took all that for like 2-3 months of you being here, just taking the bits of your stuff, and you up in here gagging, and then you finally pick it up a month, and I'm like, cool, I can kind of relax and not bust my behind hard, picking up your slack, and then now we're closing. So. I'm not hiring. Basically, when I get another job, he's not, which I'm probably going to just wait till I get my degree, but I'm not hooking him up with no other job. I learned my lesson.
Yeah. All right. So if we had to agree on one principle or guideline for dealing with intercultural situations like this, what would that be?
I think that the main thing is just like to try and have as much open dialogue as you can, especially in like a situation this specific. I think it would be best like if somebody's like not giving you any sort of answer, like Arvind wasn't giving Hendrik that much of an answer at all. He was kind of like deflecting the question. I think that like let's say there's like 4 other people in the meeting on Arvin's side, like maybe like try to move on and like have open dialogue with other people, and then like maybe come back to that situation or like that person about the situation if they're kind of deflecting, just so like he can hear what other people say, and maybe that will like encourage him or inspire him to like say what he actually thinks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I totally agree with that. Open dialogue. I did not have that, but I totally am going with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I would play better than.
Well, I mean, what did you have down?
I just said tell the truth, but open dialogue, the truth I think will come out. So
yeah,
like that was like perfect. Like open dialogue, make sure you get to the bottom of it where everybody has to speak and say something on it. So
yeah.
Okay.
Did you think anything else too, Caitlin?
I kind of liked what you were saying earlier about the different cultures, and I think the point with the open dialogue allows that, like, because Arvin, like, obviously was more on the status side of things and didn't know how to respond to the situation. And like you had mentioned, I think that came about because of his culture and upbringing. I think that if it was more of an open dialogue and they did address it more so as a group than directly to Arvind, I think the truth would have came out a little bit more easier, and it would have been such an awkward situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right. So last little things. Ethan, you'll be submitting the recording, right?
Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
link, so I can just send it to her.
And then next week we're going to do Thursday again. Did we have a preference on time yet?
I think 7 works for me.
Okay.
If it works for everyone.
7 works for me.
Sounds good. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and lead the discussion next time around.
Okay. If you want me to, I can.
Did you do one yet?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
first
you did.
one.
I haven't done one yet, like officially, so.
Okay.
That one. All right. Are we done?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
have a good night,
guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Guys, have a good
Bye.
Bye.
Guys and ladies, have a good night.